it's great to be back, especially as the Super Bowl champions. Oh man. It's been a long time coming, but it's great to say that again. And I'm sure my fellow Buck Bros are feeling the same way.
Absolutely. I mean, there's never been a better time to be a Tampa Bay sports fan than right now.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But I think we were all waiting for that Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah, think about it, guys, right? Like last season during the COVID protocols and not having an off season and not having preseason and first year on with Brady and Arians. And I mean, there were a lot of uncertainties there. And in the end, they pulled it out, man. I mean, I'm just excited to see how much how even better this team can be this year with a full off season, with a full training camp and then a whole another year just to gel with all the great players we got.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And for the first time in a very, very long time, we're not hounding our draft picks. I feel like Bucks fans have really glossed over the guys we selected in the draft because we've been riding that wave so far. We re-signed all of our Super Bowl starters. You know, we're coming off an impressive season. We're talking about potentially going undefeated. I mean, the ceiling is still so high, and the offseason has felt so different that I think this is an opportunity for us as a fan base to grow a little bit as we start to hone in on different aspects of the game that we might otherwise not have focused on. You know, normally we focus on who's going to be starting at quarterback, who do we take in the draft, what kind of impact are they going to have, and now we're trying to figure out how do we make a Super Bowl winning team even better, and I think that's going to help us to focus on some other things.
Yeah, to your point, John, definitely a different offseason feel. Typically coming in as the fourth or third seed in the NFC South, trying to see how the draft picks are going to evaluate how they're going to go. Definitely a different feel coming in with all the pundits thinking we're going to be Super Bowl champions or giving us the Super Bowl odds to win again. It's just different for Bucs fans. It's an exciting time. It's a great time to be here, and we are hungry and ready for number 2 for sure.
Absolutely, fellas. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it, guys. So opening night, Thursday, September 9th, we open the season against the Cowboys. Prime time. Super Bowl champions. We ended with the Super Bowl on the field at our home stadium last year, and then we're starting off our defending the Super Bowl championship this year on the home field. So let's go to you, Ryan. What do you think? Cowboys first home game.
Yeah, I mean, it's set up to be a great game. I can't remember the last time we started off a season. I think it's Thursday night football. So we get everybody's eyes on us, and I'm going to go with riding high from the Super Bowl. You know, I don't see a whole lot of W's. It's hard to see it's hard to see L's for this team on the schedule. And I don't see this one as one as well. Dallas just has quite a few question marks with Dak Prescott coming back from injury. Mike McCarthy didn't have a really good showing his first year. I think they're still going to be figuring themselves out. So them traveling, it won't be necessarily a short week, but them traveling here and facing the defending Super Bowl champions, I'd like to think we get the job done when we start 1-0. Different than how we did last season. Let me know if you see it any differently. Buck Bro John, you got any different takes?
It's hard for me because outside of last year, everything as a Bucks fan tells me this is a game we lose. We take our lumps early. We learn nothing from it. But things have been different. You know, the quality of the team has been different. The leadership under Brady has been different. And like Ryan said, the Cowboys have just too many questions right now. They're not even taking 20 of their starters on to the first preseason game for the Hall of Fame game. They're holding back. I think they're still, like Ryan said, trying to figure out who they are. You didn't learn anything about the team last season. They were a disaster. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for us to make a statement game. And that's what I'd like to see us do. I'd like it to be a statement, start the season off right in prime time, start the whole NFL season with a win, and let everybody know that we've come to play.
Yeah, guys, I'm kind of with you, John. I guess the question is, does this team, is there going to be some sort of a Super Bowl hangover, right? Are they going to come out kind of feeling too confident about themselves going into the year? It's been a hype offseason, probably much more hype than we're all used to being Bucks fans. And then especially with the weight of the expectations now going into the season, right? Everyone's expecting us to be one of the best teams in the league. But I'm kind of with you as well about the Cowboys. There's a lot of question marks with that team. Dak Prescott coming back from a season-ending injury last year. Zeke Elliott really didn't have a great season. They've got Amari Cooper. They've got weapons, but the defense was pretty bad last year. And I don't know if they did a whole lot to address that side of the ball. So I'm going to go with you guys. I think this is going to be a nice little statement win coming first game of the season. I think it'll be closer than what we anticipate. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do expect us to win. And I know that Tom Brady's going to have this team prepared and not looking too much forward, and that they're going to take it one game at a time. So we'll get that W to start off the season.
From there, the Bucks week 2 take on Atlanta. Maybe a different trajectory than Dallas. Dallas seems maybe more on the upswing with Dak Prescott returning. Atlanta, as we know, now without Julio Jones, thank God we as Bucs fans hated Julio Jones for what he did against us. So it seems Atlanta may have taken a turn for the worse. Let's get into that. What are your predictions? We'll start with Buckbroke John.
I think back-to-back home games to start the season. I don't know when the last time we had back-to-back home games to start a season. This I have written up as a W. I believe I have every division game as a W this season. I think we're gonna get 6 easy ones right now, and it doesn't get much easier than the Atlanta Falcons. If you look at the numbers they've put up against us in the last few years, really outside of Julio Jones, they didn't do much. Not that they needed to, but without a man coming in and putting up 200 yards a game and 4 touchdowns, I have a hard time seeing them dominate us the way that they have in the past. And I mean, everything shows me that this should be a W. And I fully expect this with back-to-back home games to start the season off strong in front of a home crowd, have fans in the stadium. This should be a win.
Yeah, the departure of Julio Jones, a.k.a. Mr. Buck Killer for so many years, is definitely a sight for welcome eyes for us Bucs fans, right? But I do worry, exits Julio Jones, enter my boy Kyle Pitts as a number 4 overall selection. And, I mean, he's a freak. I'm glad that they didn't keep Julio Jones. I don't know how we would have ever defended Julio, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts all at the same time. So, I mean, thank you, Atlanta, for making that trade for some sort of reason. But in any case, I'm with you, John. I think the division is down this year. And it is prime for the Bucs to just kind of, take control of it early and set the tone. Again, Atlanta's defense was a really big issue last year. They addressed some of that in the draft, but not a whole lot. And it's interesting, they've got a new coach, Arthur Smith, coming over. So there's a change there that's going to take some time for them to develop. I'm always a little hesitant. Matt Ryan can, toss the ball around. He is a pretty good quarterback. He's also on the downside of his career. And that offensive line didn't do him any justice last year, and I'm not too sure they're going to do him they're going to get that much better this year. So I agree with John. I think this is a solid W here too. And we start off the season 2-0 at home.
Yeah, I like your points. I think we got us all going with a win here. I got us with the win. To Bryce's point, it seems to me that when we play the Falcons, Matt Ryan just seems always under duress, and I expect that trend to continue. So I'm hoping the defense gets a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan, gets him flustered, and it seems like when we can do that, we can start forcing some turnovers and putting the game on our side. So I'm looking for a big defensive performance. I got it as a W, starting 2 wins at home.
Following that, we do go on the road for our first road game of the year, and we take on the LA Rams. Now, this is a game that I'm looking forward to because I think it might be the first real test of the season for us. Our first trip out to the West Coast. Bryce, what are you feeling for this game?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. This is really going to be the first true kind of team that we're going to face that's going to kind of dictate where are we going to, how our team's going to fare this season. The Rams are also a team that is a lot of high expectations. They're one of the strongest teams in the NFC. Obviously, or not obviously, but they traded for Matthew Stafford in the offseason, so they think they've upgraded their quarterback position. Their defense is nasty, to say the least. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, just those two alone make you worry as an opposing fan. But the last time we went to Los Angeles, we put up 55 on them, right? So, I think here it's really going to be a tough game. They held us to, I think, one of our season total lows in total yards, at least last season at home on Monday night. I actually chalked this one up as probably a loss, probably our first L of the season.
Yeah, I got us down as an L too. Big test out west. Other than that game you mentioned where we dropped 55, we really don't see to play the Rams that well. We lost to them last season. I can recount in seasons past, we lost close games to them as well. I think there was a Monday night game or something when Austin Seferian-Jenkins was still on the team where we got trounced in those color rush uniforms. So
those god awful mustard uniforms.
Yeah. Oh yes, those ones. So I don't know. It seems like a tough time. I think a lot of people have the Rams as their kind of sleeper NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl. So it does seem like a tough team. They obviously have great players and are well coached under Sean McVay. They always seem to be around the playoff hunt when it comes to playoff time, and they can make a run. So it's going to be a tough team. I think this will be our first loss. I really don't like just going all the way W's. So I got this as a loss and a learning experience for the team.
And I understand where you guys are coming from on that. However, it was such a close game last season, despite the fact that it was one of Tom Brady's worst performances of the year. He had 2 interceptions. He was 26 for 48. He only had 200 yards. It wasn't an ideal. It was not an ideal game for us. I think having him be healthy, now that we know what we know about his MCL and ACL issues, and coming out of that, I think we can make a better stand going into this year. We had interceptions of our own, 2 interceptions as well in that last game, and our defense did their part. I mean, that's a good team to hold to 27 points. We should be able to win games that are within 1 score with Tom Brady playing the way he needs to play and he should play. And he's proven that he can play with the Bucs. And so I truly believe that we come back and win this game in the repeat, and we go 3-0 to start the season.
Well, I think week 4 is the game that everybody is circled on, not even just Buccaneers or Patriot fans' calendars. I mean, this is the game of the century, right? Tom Brady going back to Foxborough on Sunday night to face his old coach, Bill Belichick, and his old team. I mean, talk about just the dramatics, the atmosphere, the amount of attention this game is going to get. This is going to be the big one, guys. So let's start with Buckbro. Ryan, what do you think about this game?
Oh man, it is just like you said, the big one. It's the GOAT returning back home, basically, where he spent 20 years of his career and made himself a legend. It's going to be so emotionally charged. I can't wait to hear the crowd there. It's going to be loud. In terms of the game, I don't know. It's Bill Belichick. The Patriots don't seem that tough to beat. They didn't seem like they had that good of a record, but you can never count out Belichick. There's a part of me that thinks this is a trap game, but the bigger part of me thinks that there's no way Tom Brady is going to let that team beat him. There's just not going to happen. I got this as a W just because Tom Brady's going to will this team to the W. He's not going to allow that team to beat him. So I got it as a W. Thank you, Tom. Hopefully your home reunion goes well.
I 100% agree. There's absolutely no chance that Tom Brady goes into Foxborough and loses a game. One, because I'm not certain he knows how to lose a game, really. when he's playing in Foxborough. And so I fully expect him to go in there and to prove something, not to himself, but to all those doubters, all those people who said he was a system quarterback, all those people who said it was just Belichick, he could do it with anybody. Those same kind of people who attempted to write him off at the beginning of last season during that Saints game. This is his moment, even more so, I think, than the Super Bowl, to really go in there and drive the point home. And barring whatever else happens during the season, I expect this game to be incredibly memorable.
Yeah, John, I kind of agree with you, man. I mean, the Super Bowl, he's been there more than 7 times. He's won it 7 times. But this probably is the biggest game in Tom Brady's mind, right? Like, this is the game that he cannot lose. And I don't think there's any way possible he's going to let this team lose. The question would be, Tom Brady's going to be ready for this game, and probably Rob Gronkowski's going to be ready for this game. But what about the rest of the team, right? Are they going to be in that same mindset? And something tells me, yeah, man, like this team knows that how much this is going to mean to Tom. And they're going to come out and just smack the Patriots. And that's just, I mean, I'm not saying from like a score wise, so I'm with Ryan. You can never count out Belichick, and who knows Brady better than Belichick, right? But in terms of just, the motivation, both teams are going to be highly motivated, right? The Patriots don't want to lose to Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't want to lose to them. But when you're talking about the GOAT and you've got the GOAT on your team, it's hard to go against that guy. So, yeah, chart me down as a W here too, fellas. I think we're going to go out of Foxborough, and silencing that crowd is going to sound so great.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think there's any way Tom Brady's not going to rile the team up around his cause. There's no way that team is not going to feel that kind of infectious desire to win.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to make this game so great, is that you got two sides that are going to be
really.
There's not a whole lot of rivalry games in football, or like where there's like there's a few like Ravens and Steelers and Seahawks and 49ers, right? Those are kind of the more recent ones that had some sort of animosity kind of behind it. Where this one's going to be like, I mean, both teams are just going to be like, we cannot lose to this guy, right? So, like,
it's going to have that playoff.
And it's going to be a hell of a game.
It's going to have that playoff feel in a regular season, regular season game for sure. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. And then the next week after that, we are actually staying in the AFC East. But we are coming back home, I believe. Yep, we're coming back home to face the Dolphins. We're going to get Tua Tagovailoa, the new and up-and-coming Dolphins, who just missed a playoff spot in the last season. John, they look like a good team, man. What do you think about this?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if we can win this game. The only thing we have going for us is it's going to be home field advantage. But, we're not going to get the benefit of the heat. This is a team that plays further south than us. They were 10-6 last season. They are desperate and hungry to make a statement in the NFCs, especially now that Brady's gone from the Patriots. They have an opportunity with the Bills there to really break out. And, they want Tua to look good. And hopefully if he comes back healthy, they're going to look good next season. I think this is a dangerous game for us. I think this is one of those trap games we run into as Bucs fans, where normally we would expect, of course, we're going to beat the Dolphins at home. But this is a game where I could see us making some mental mistakes and not being prepared as well as we might be, especially with that so-called Super Bowl slump coming off of a win. This is a game where I may have to call it an L and be pleasantly surprised if we can pull it out.
Yeah, John, I mean, you said it. I think this is the ultimate trap game on our schedule, right? We just talked about how emotional that Patriots game was going to be. And, I mean, I don't know how you go from playing that, it'll be tough for a team to focus, going from that kind of game and that kind of atmosphere to, I mean, I know you're going home. It'll be good that the game's at home, but like you said, we're playing another Florida team. And there is no benefit of like having home field advantage when you play in the same thing, right? So I do think that this will be an ultimate trap game. I don't know if we necessarily, I mean, I think we're going to come out. They're probably going to be a little sloppy. I think that you will see one of those, games where it's like we're better than this, in terms of how the team plays. I think the effort will probably be there, but it won't be one of those like, wow, we just line up the scoreboard kind of games. That being said, the Dolphins are a tough team, but I have real doubts about the Dolphins too. Tua, he looked pretty shaky his rookie season. That doesn't mean he can't go out and light the league on fire this year. He has all the talent in the world. They added who's the receiver they added in the draft?
Wilson, the Alabama guy. I forget what his name is.
Waddle.
Waddle,
Right? I was like, I think it's Jalen Waddle, right? So they got Waddle on that team now. They've got some talent there. And the defense is solid, but it's hard for me to see us losing to the Dolphins, to be honest with you. So chalk me up as a W for this.
Yeah, I can see this game going one of two ways. Coming off that, from my prediction, emotional win in Foxborough, we could either come out flat from all of our emotions being used up, and in that case, I think this is going to be a loss. Or we could be really charged up and fired up from that, and we could come out and we can just hand the Dolphins their food, their lunch money, take everything from them. So I can see it going one of two ways. I'm going to go with the more optimistic way and say that we come in and beat the Dolphins to a pulp. I do agree with you, Bryce, on my hesitations. I do think they're a good and upcoming team, and I like Brian Flores, but Tua didn't inspire a whole lot of hope for me from the game film I saw of him last season. I'm rooting for the kid, just not for this game. I have the Bucs as a W.
Once again, back-to-back games in a conference. The following week, we end up NFC bottom of the barrel NFC East team, the Philadelphia Eagles. That is looks like going to be a primetime game on October the 14th. This is a team, they were 4-12 last season. And this is a game I expect us to win by 3 touchdowns. I expect a dominant defensive performance here. The only thing that makes me nervous about the Eagles is they have Andrew Adams now, who once had 4 interceptions in a Bucs uniform. As long as
daddy.
Yeah, so as long as he doesn't put up a similar performance for them, then I fully expect this to be a trouncing. Bryce, what are you thinking about for this game?
Yeah, if we had Jameis on this team, I would be worried about him having 4 interceptions. But with Tom Brady, I don't see that as likely as a possibility. But I don't know what it is with Thursday night games. We don't seem to have a lot of success with them. This one just kind of reminds me of the Chicago game last year. Short week on the road against an inferior opponent, and we kind of laid an egg. And my hope is that kind of with you, John, is that this team is just so far more inferior than the Bucs are on paper, at least. That there's not really going to be. But it is the NFL, right? And they've got home field, and they're going to come out, and we're going to get everybody's best shot this year. We're the Super Bowl champions. Everybody wants to beat us. So, but like you said, Jalen Hurts is their quarterback. Not a whole lot of talent there. They're kind of on the rebuilding phase. They're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. So, in regards to my prediction, I think we'll probably learn our lesson from last year against Chicago. Hey, don't take these teams lightly. You've got to be prepared. We can't be playing sloppy anymore. And we're going to come out and get that done.
Yeah, I'm with John. I can't see the Eagles beating us. It would be if we were to lose, it would be one of those true we beat ourselves games, and not a little. We would have to beat ourselves by a lot for me to see this as an L. Eagles are just, like you said, going through a rebuild, and there's not a whole lot to hang your hat on their roster. They got rid of their starting QB, so they've got Hurts coming in. Their defense is okay. They don't seem to be putting, any offenses to struggle. So I just can't see this as a loss, to be honest. I got us winning comfortably.
Yeah, outside of Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, who's a rookie, he's the Heisman winner, but who else can you name on the Eagles? I really can't name another player, like a star player on the Eagles. So, I mean, and for so many years, they had all these, Donovan McNabbs, you
Yeah.
had the Dawkins. I mean, even more
Right.
recently,
Mitchell's.
you
Yeah.
had Zach Ertz's, Nick Foles. It's like, and, who the heck is on that team anymore? So,
It
just
has
interesting.
gotten a little barren since their 2017 Super Bowl team for sure.
They're
Especially
kind
on the
of like
offensive side.
the Marlins for baseball. They won a championship and stripped down the team as soon as.
Yeah, everybody's gone. Yep.
All right, so week 7, we're back at home against the Chicago Bears. Chicago coming into town. This is again another team that will probably be on the worst side of the division that they play in. We don't even really know who their quarterback is going to be at this point in time. So, but let's start with you, Ryan. Again, what do we got for this game?
Yeah. Chicago's kind of tough for me. It seems like no matter what happens, they always play a tough game and a gritty game, especially with that defense. I think we all remember Khalil Mack and his effectiveness in the game against us last time. So it's kind of hard for me to predict. I want to say it's not an easy win, but a win. But I could totally see Chicago giving us fits like they did last season. So I'm going to go with my gut here and say that this is a loss just due to kind of Chicago Bear frustration that we have. It's going to be a sloppy game, and we're just not going to come out on top.
Yeah, it's tough for me here with this Chicago game. It's one of these games where I'm glad I don't live in Florida anymore, that this isn't a game that I can be escorted out of. Nothing infuriates me more. Nothing gets under my skin more than playing the Bears at home. Their terrible fans come out. I don't know any of their players. They're garbage, and they seem to bring out the garbage side of us. And no matter who we have quarterbacking for us, no matter what our season looks like, something about the Bears just sticks in our craw. And just once, I would like to own them, dominate them. And if there was ever a time to do that, now is the time. And I really, truly need, I'm not even going to make I need this to be a win. I need this to be a comfortable win. And I'm asking the football gods, come on, man. It's about time. This needs to be a W.
I don't know, John. The Chicago Bears also brought out your famous Mimosa John side too. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Bears do really get under your skin.
I think the Bears bring out the best of you too. I mean, I was just saying that, but. I'm with you guys too. I don't know what it is about the Bears playing the Bears. Maybe it's just that old NFC North, kind of angst with that team. But yeah, they do seem to have our number more recently, right? Like we just talked about last season, we kind of gave them that game, and here they are sitting with Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback, or so we believe. And they got Alshon Jeffrey and they got Khalil Mack, and that's about it. But, it's one of those games, I think, where they're going to play us tough because they have a tough defense. And Khalil Mack is a difference maker. And we'll see if Wirfs can better him this season. But he's going to get his. And Tom Brady's only getting older too, right? I mean, he's still going to sling the ball around. But if they get to him as easy as they did last year, I don't see things improving on the offensive side of the ball that well. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and bless John with his need of a W here.
Thank you.
And go ahead and chalk this one up as a W. Again, it's hard for me to see the Bears winning this game because, one, it's at home. Two, like we said, who the hell have they got? I mean, their quarterback is Andy Dalton, for God's sakes. So I know the Bucs have a propensity of losing to, third string, second string quarterbacks all the time. But again, we're talking about a different Bucs team at this point in time, right? So we're coming, hopefully, knock on wood, that we've kind of gotten over that. But chalk this one up as a W.
Nice. Yeah, the mentality does seem to have shifted since Super Bowl. Hopefully that mentality shift helps us with our demons of pass backup QBs. Knock on wood, Derek Anderson. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode with the Saints game, which is a week after the Bears game. We go to visit the Saints, 425. And I know, again, the Bucs are going to be ready for this game. I know they got their revenge in the playoffs, but there's something about going to the Saints and having that regular season dominance. I think they're still wanting to show that they're the class of the NFC South. So big game for us going into the bye week. John, how do you think this is going to play out?
I think the NFL is purposely hiding the New Orleans Saints. This is the latest in the season for our first game against the Saints in a long time. And I think knowing that it's going to be Jameis Winston under center, knowing that he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, means we're probably going to run away with this game. There is nothing more dangerous to your team than a Jameis Winston who's fired up. He's going to be ready to play, and we're going to eat his lunch. It's going to be an awesome afternoon for the Bucs defense. You're probably going to see 3 or 4 interceptions in this game, several fumbles. This is going to be an absolute just dominant performance from our defense against Jameis Winston, and I'm going to love every second of it. I think we go into the bye week just striding high after stomping out the New Orleans Saints.
Couldn't agree more with you, John, on the Jameis being fired up bit. Yeah, nothing scares. It's Halloween, right? Nothing scares you more than fired up Jameis Winston trying to eat some W's. So that's the scariest thing in New Orleans that day. But it is Halloween. You're in the town known for voodoo, and we haven't historically played well in New Orleans. Now again, Drew Brees has been their quarterback for so long. And another butt killer that is finally out of the league. He's out of the league, but out of the division, right? It's hard for me to, I do think Jameis is going to have, like you said, a chip on his shoulder, and we'll see how he does this year. He might be, his demons might still be there, but he also might be a lot better than we expect as well. The team is still very talented. They won 13 games last year. Yes, they've losing Drew Brees, but you still have Kamara. You still have Michael Thomas. Well, maybe. I guess he's out for a couple months. You've got Marshawn Lattimore. You've got Cameron Jordan. I mean, that team has a lot of players. And they're going to be fired up just as much as we are to play them. I want to say win here. But, realistically speaking, and it could be another game, but I just can't see. I see us going 6-2 in the first part of the season. So let's go ahead and just chalk this one up as an L.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be the first time we've seen the Saints team in a long time that isn't manned by Drew Brees. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sean Payton comes out with the new QB and how that offensive style is going to adapt to that. There's no way in hell I'm going to say this is an L. I can't in good conscience as a Buccaneer fan say that this is going to be a loss after what happened last season. So this is going to be a win. I'll be interested to see how Jameis does. Maybe he'll start throwing to Bucs receivers because we didn't see that when he was in the Buccaneers uniform. So hopefully that trend, him throwing to the other team continues and it's going to be our team. But yeah, there's no way I'm going to there's no reason to rhyme for it other than I hate the Saints. I don't want to see them win. I'm going to predict a W. So
I mean, if we lose to Chicago or Philadelphia or Miami and then beat the Saints and we're at 6-2, I mean, I'll take that over. I'm with you. I mean, let's just beat the Saints. I'm with you. I'm just trying to be a little more conservative than I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but, agreed. I hope we stomp the Saints.
Yeah.
If there was ever a team that deserved the things that they get, it's them. And so, with that being said, I think we're all looking at probably like a 6-2 start, 7-1 start to begin the season, which would be fantastic considering the 7-9 season we had after our last Super Bowl win. So, hopefully all good things. This isn't going to be a time when we shred our team and things fall apart. So I fully expect this to be a good season. I expect to hear good things coming out of camp about, the new kids that we've got like Joe Tryon and Kyle Trask. And hopefully we can take something that was special and make it even better. And that's what we should see hopefully in this first half of the season.
Yeah, name to watch out for a rookie this season, Jalen Darden, 5th round pick. I'm hearing amazing things out of camp so far, from his potential to be a slot receiver and then just a dynamic receiver going forward. From what I'm hearing, he's challenging Scotty Miller for that position this year. So just look out. That's the name I'm hearing.
Yeah, I've heard also good things about Darting. I've heard he's gotten actually some first team reps as a rookie, which is very hard to do. I also hear great things about Tryon as well. I think I'm quoting Arians when he said he's carving out a nice piece for him on the team. So looks like our first rounder is also doing well. So got a lot of tools. Obviously, we're bringing back the 22 starters. So it's going to be hard to crack that starting lineup, but it seems like we got a lot of tools in the shed at our disposal. And I trust Arians and Bowles and Leftwich to do what they need to do with those pieces. All right, Buck Bros. Well, that's going to cap this episode. We've got weeks 1 through 8 in the books. We've got our predictions there. You'll see them on the screen for you. And we'll be coming back at you with our weeks, which would be not weeks 10 through 18, I think. Games 9 through 17.
Got that extra games here.
Oh, yeah. Extra games. So we're going to have even more content for you, Buck Bros, coming up. We're going to have 9 games coming back to you. Let us know how you guys want the season to come out, how you guys think it's going to go. Give us your record predictions for the season. We'd love to hear them. And till next time, Buck Bros, go Bucks.
Go Bucks, baby.
However, I did look it up, and the last time we had back-to-back home games to start the season was in 2014.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!